Alright guys, this quick little video here is going to just give you some ways to use the research packet effectively and to make sure you're getting all the information you need to have good, solid sources for your paper. So you're going to need two things to do this. First, you're going to need a piece of paper, and you can see I've got a piece of paper right here. And you will also need the research packet. And here's the research packet. And you can either, if you're at a computer, you can open it up online, or if you have the paper copy, you can use that. So you're going to need those two things in order to obviously take some notes and write some things down to use in your paper. Alright, clearly the first thing you have to do is read the articles. And there are, in the research packet, there are 6 resources, and they're numbered resource 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So after you do that, then you can start to grab things that you want to use in your paper. Now, to do this, you don't want to copy and paste just massive amounts of stuff. That's not the way to do it. You need to pull certain quotes, or summarize an entire piece of text, or just summarize a short part of the story to use in yours. You should not be grabbing entire paragraphs and quoting them. That's not the right way to do this. So let's just give an example. Let's say you want to use something from resource 1. If I want to use something from resource 1, I am going to get my piece of notebook paper out, and I'm going to type resource 1. Now I'm doing this so that later, when I am ready to do my works cited page, I know which citation to copy. So like when I do my citation page, say if I'm going to use resource 1, I will have to copy all of this down, and when I put it in the text, I'll have to use that. So that's why I'm putting resource 1, just to save some time right now. So let's say from resource 1, there's a very good quote that I want to use. So let's say there's a quote right here about Albuquerque Public Schools surveys support the district's proposed cell phone policy that will allow students to have cell phones at school, but will require that they're turned off during instructional time. Now you'll have to rewrite that, but I can copy and paste since I'm on the computer. So let's say I want to use this quote. So I'm going to, I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste that in here. I'm going to paste down this whole thing that I want to use, and it looks a little bit funny on my flip chart, but it'll be okay. Now I'm going to put quotation marks around it because I know it's a quote. Okay, so I'm going to put quotation marks around it. So now I've got this written down here, and when I'm going to write my paper, I can find the proper place to put this quote in. And I know it came from resource 1, so I know at the end of it, when I write the paper, I'll have to put APS community because it's an in-text citation. Okay, so that's one way to do this, is to just simply write down the quotes under the resource. And if I use something else in resource 1, I would probably just list those here. The second way to use sources is to do what's called paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is taking a small piece of a text and just summarizing that small piece. So I'm going to paraphrase something from resource number 2. And this whole section right here is about reasons why kids should be allowed to have their cell phones in school, because there's so many emergencies and schedules, and even the threat of terrorism has become greater. So if I want to use this to support my reason, I'm going to go right here, and now since this is from resource 2, right, resource 2, and I'll make it the right size here. Okay, now I'm not going to put quotation marks around it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it, and I'm going to decide how to best use this. I'm not going to quote this whole thing, that's way too much. But I can summarize it. I can say, okay, That is not word for word what was in the article. You can look right here and you can pause it and read it yourself if you want. But that's kind of the gist of that paragraph. So I can take this and I can use this in my paper as a paraphrase. I can take exactly what I wrote here and use it right in my paper. Now when I do it, I have to put this at the end, Blandino, because she wrote this article. That's still her idea. Even though I didn't take her exact words, that's still her idea. So that's the second way we can do that, is through a paraphrase. So we've got, up here we've got a quote, right here we've got a paraphrase. The last way we can use sources is to summarize. And what we do when we summarize is we do exactly what it sounds like. You just simply summarize in a sentence or two an entire article so that you can use just the big ideas. So let's say I'm going to summarize something from resource number 5 right here. So I will put resource 5 and I'm going to write my summary right here. Now you will obviously have read this, so you could probably summarize it too, but it's basically about bring your own technology policies and how schools are looking into that. So I'm going to summarize this in a sentence or two. Okay, so this is a summary of what that whole article was, and it gives obviously many more reasons. But if there's not one specific quote that I really want to take from this, I can just summarize the whole thing. I can use this right in my paper. Now again, to reiterate at the end, I will need to put Kiefer in parentheses at the end of that summary because this is from that article. So, what you should do is read through your resources and find as many things that you think you could use in your paper as you can and record them like this. Then when we go to actually write our rough drafts, you've got them here. When you know, alright, there's a good quote from resource 1 that I wanted to use, I can pluck that in there. Then I can just simply turn in the research packet and I will know what my citation is. And then when I go to do my works cited page, I know I gotta have resource 1 in here, so I can just copy that. So that's a quick way to use the research packet to your benefit to make your paper better.